Hello and welcome to We Never Met, the podcast where I have an interesting stranger on every single week. And today I have, you can introduce yourself.
Oh, that's how it works here? Tyler Maas is my name.
Yeah, Tyler Maas from Milwaukee Record. Mm-hmm. You may know. So you guys recently, I guess we should explain what Milwaukee Record is first if people don't know. I mean, if you're in Milwaukee, you know what it is.
No, that's not at all true.
Really?
If you're one of like 60 people in Milwaukee, you might be faintly aware of it.
I feel like it's really a popular site, though.
I think it's like becoming a larger thing than we ever expected it to be.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get into that later. I don't know. But it's like, yeah, we've already like without sounding like I'm like really bragging about this website where I just was able to get health insurance from like, like, you know, I think we're outdoing what
your expectations
what we initially
were?
thought by year 5. But there's a lot of room to grow still, which is encouraging and like weekly like reminder that I'm just like, oh God, I need to do more. I don't know how we're balancing all this, but we need to add more. We need to keep on doing this and we have to keep on pushing it and stuff. But it's been a life ruining a dream come true, you know, where like,
I don't know what that means.
I made the mistake of like having the opportunity to make a business out of everything I love. So everything is work all the time. And I'm always on. And as we're hitting more people, there are more people walking up to me and letting me know what we should write and what we should do and how we should have done something differently. But yeah, I never expected I would ever have the opportunity to be one of the like the leaders of like a website of my own. It was usually me asking to write for another person and being told like, well, one of those 8 ideas is pretty good. And then you're going to hand it in and we're going to change it into something you're not even proud to share with people. And
is that how it mostly goes?
And you'll get $40 at the end of it, you know?
And you can feel bad.
And then you do it all over again.
You've written for like a ton of different publications. So what started you out writing? Like, were you always a writer?
I don't know. I always like excelled, I guess. Like I was really, really bad at math and really bad at science and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I enjoyed was like writing, and like even though I'm not like 100% I'm sure on like the grammar rules. Even now.
I'm not. Either.
But like even though that's not exactly one of my strengths, I think I was like better at knowing how to pace and how to write things and how to express myself. And I was also really really shy when I was younger, and I had social anxiety. I do still, but I've just I made myself have to do things that are uncomfortable like this, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Even though you've been an awesome host and everything so far, just like, I've never met you.
Yeah.
We've never met. Honestly
which
never
is,
met.
Which is like probably what makes the social anxiety the worst with a complete stranger.
I was, like a nervous, very kind of angsty, like young kid. And it lasted in high school, and I didn't really like have the opportunity to like express myself in like a real one-on-one way. Like, it would really take a lot for me to really like to get to know people and to break through to that level where I felt like I was okay, like, being myself.
Right.
And I was always in my own head. I am still, but I'm just like better at hiding it and stuff.
No, I hear you.
But, but then writing was the one way where I could have like an unadulterated at my own pace, means of expression in the way that I wanted to. And I wouldn't have the ums or likes or the ramp up to and ultimately not that big payoff is happening right now probably. but it was just a like a way that I could be 100% like myself. I was able to lay out like what I thought, and I really liked that. And then I realized that there wasn't like a lot of money in the industry, and I could see the shift and things were changing and there were layoffs and whatnot. And so I went into marketing as a major at Oshkosh, UW Oshkosh. Go Titans, I guess. I don't know.
Not that boost.
Yeah. I'm still paying it off. I will be until I die.
Oh yeah, me too.
In 5 years from now. But I was a marketing major at the urging of my parents, where it's
because you were afraid to do like a writing.
Sort of thing. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and they're like, "Well, there's always business."
Yeah.
And
it's true.
Yeah, like a sage advice, and like from the people who didn't at all contribute to my college education financially,
right?
Who are the reason I'm hampered with these huge loans, or one of the reasons. But and then halfway into it, I realized like like once you got to the accounting level, which is not one of our strengths either with Milwaukee Record, I hand in a box of receipts to our accountants. Please make this work.
Something needs to happen with these.
Yeah. But once I hit that sort of level, I realized like this is not for me. And all the people like within the major were kind of more, I don't know what the like types are, the type A, type B, but they were kind of and this isn't to judge all business majors.
Yeah.
And I know people like my brother-in-law like actually was an accounting major, and he's an awesome guy.
Yeah.
And my sister is an HR for like a Fortune like 150 company and stuff like that. So like they're very in that like in that camp.
Right.
But it like wasn't like really for me, and a lot of the like the people there are just like I'm not really like latching on with the way that you act and think and whatever.
Sure.
And so I decided that along the way I had something. There was the gripe line, which was a pre-Twitter type thing. You would like you'd send in a musing or a thought or a random joke or something, and they would.
When was
in
this?
the
Like
newspaper?
What year?
This is like 05 or something. Okay. And if it like worked out, if they liked it, they would have it in the newspaper, the weekly newspaper, the Advanced Titan. And so once I got one of those, I was like, oh man, I like how this feels. I like that I was able to I don't know, gain acceptance.
Sure.
And I like the way it looked and felt in my hand, even though I'm working in digital media now. But it's like, I made that happen, and maybe I'm good at this. And so I sent in more, and then eventually there was a week where it was like all mine.
Oh, really?
And then they invited me to be on the newspaper, like to write the lighter side, which was like a humor offbeat sort of article.
Okay.
Each week. And then, I wound up, I'd say this is around my sophomore year.
Okay.
Of the 5 years I was at UW Oshkosh. And, at the end of it, in my late junior year, I was the editor of the newspaper.
Oh, wow.
Like the whole thing. And we went to semi-weekly.
Okay. Did you enjoy that part? Did they like managing people?
I felt like I really found myself. And like along the way, I moved into an English major because I didn't have the grades or the want to be in school any longer than I had to. Yeah. And I'm like, I'd heard, I don't even know who gave me this advice, but like your writing examples speak way louder than like, oh, I had a 3.4 at UW Oshkosh in the journalism department. Once you get like an internship, once you get some more clips, that's all that matters. Yeah. And then,
I'm interested. Like, what was the gripe line? So what did you write? Like, what were they just little like?
It's just random like
thoughts,
like jokes about Oshkosh or like my math professor, blah blah blah, or random things that are happening.
Sure.
Just in the world too. So it would just be kind of one-liners. I don't really have any examples, and I'm sure a lot of them haven't really dated well. Yeah,
they don't hold up.
Yeah, like the Kirby Puckett joke I made or something. R.I.P. Kirby. If you're listening up there.
Yeah. So once you graduated school, then what did you do? Did you get a job right away, or were you?
I had along the way I was an intern at the Oshkosh Northwestern, which is it's a daily newspaper up there. And I was initially in a sports like area or whatever. Sure. And then by the nature of the modern print industry, there were a bunch of layoffs, and then there were people who weren't happy with what they're doing who left abruptly. And it went from me being look over this article and write down the softball scores from all the nearby cities.
Right.
To being like, we need something on the front page of the sports department. And so I had some weird ideas about like roller derby, which was this offbeat thing at the time. And these writing around the boring sort of writing about high school, like any sport, baseball or whatever. And so I guess I did okay at that job, and they knew me. And so I had applied for the regional copy desk, which is just you lay out at the time it was the Oshkosh Northwestern, the Fond du Lac Reporter, and the Sheboygan Free Press. Okay, I forget.
Sheboygan, yeah.
And so I was offered a job basically 6 months out of school, which working in media, working like a real job with insurance and everything. The last one of those I've had since. So I accepted it. And then I was a person riding past my old my old houses that I would have, house parties.
Oh, sure.
And then I would show up, and it was a weird shift. It was like second/third shift where it was like, and my days off were all like weird. So I wound up like really hating it. I was laying out the obituary of the Fond du Lac Reporter at age 24. Riding past all the places where my great moments were at the place where I thought I would be doing something like, I'm not gonna say better because I don't want to disrespect the industry, but like, something different that wasn't really me. And so it was a rather like bleak point in my life. But
so did you come here after that?
Luckily, they felt the same way about me, and they laid me off.
Oh, really?
Within 9 months or something.
Oh, wow.
It was a budgetary thing, they said, but I was also like the first one or the last one added, and I was admittedly the worst.
First one in, last one out.
And the least enthused about it. Like visibly, I would ironically like dress way nicer than I had to for a job where I interacted with only 4 people.
Like a tuxedo. I'd
wear like a suit jacket and like a necktie, and it would be uncomfortable, and like there'd be people just like, why are you doing this?
To prove a point.
I don't know what that point is. I'm a
professional.
I love this job. I'm very good at it.
Look at how I'm dressed.
By the way, do you have that Pizza Ranch ad?
I need it for the layout.
Right by the Heloise column. But they laid me off, and then the girl I was with for like a year or two, she broke up with me. And I mean, maybe because I openly talked about wanting to move and stuff like that, so it was my fault probably. But a lot was going wrong at exactly the right time, which is which will be a regular theme, I think, in my life story. A lot going wrong at just the right time and like exactly the right way, and so I had unemployment, and I knew the editor at the AV Club was he's originally from Appleton, which is where I grew up. And he let me write something, and then I kind of applied other places, like using my friend's address, who lived right down the road, actually.
So the AV Club, was that mostly music, right? Or all music?
It was a mixture of music, sports. A lot of what we do now, actually, at like Milwaukee Record is we didn't like overtly take that. We're just the way that ended was not because of the lack of interest. It was just a universal across the board an AV Club decision. We're not going to do any more local sites. And so they got rid of the one here, which was the last one. I think at that time they were. And then they've been back and forth to New York and owned by 1 million people.
I still exist
like
right
Univision.
Now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
But like the AV Club, I got in there, and then I wrote for the Alcoholic, which is I can remember applying and using my friend's address, and he's like, want to meet for breakfast tomorrow? And I'm like living 100 miles away.
Sure.
I'll leave at 4 a.m.
Give me a head start.
So it's just right down the road, right? So it
I'll be there.
So I got like assignments there, and then it reached a point where I was actually able to, I knew that there was an interest at least, and I wouldn't be blackballed or not allowed to be able to write places. And then I wrote from the Shepherd, or I wrote for Shepherd Express. I wrote a few just like user things for On Milwaukee.
Sure.
I got in at Milwaukee Magazine. They were opening a music notes blog, which was like a music related blog. And so I learned a lot about the music scene. And then as I learned more and I lived here and stuff, it just it became a little bit easier to get pitches and stuff. Is
that what's your favorite thing to write about? Like, do you like writing about, is that why Milwaukee Record exists? Because it's like eclectic and you like to write about a lot of different stuff?
I think that sort of goes back to the interest level that I have in a lot of things. I kind of was able to write about anything I wanted to in any way I wanted to.
Right.
And it's I don't know if I have a favorite thing, but I like that it's a moving target, because if I was only a music writer, I would eventually hate local music. And so every time I'm really burnt out, just like, oh man, I've been writing a lot about music. I'm going to get into food now. I'm I've been writing a lot about food, and like admittedly probably not that great at it. So I'm going to get into podcasting. I'm going to like, and you have to kind of like, service all these things, but the expectations are your own, where there's not going to be like, there's only been one local stand-up article this month.
Right.
Like, what gives?
Yeah.
Be like, okay.
I don't know.
I guess we'll do another one when like the time or my availability is right.
Yeah. Because how many people do you have on staff at Milwaukee Record that write?
It is myself and then Matt Wild, who is the other me.
Yeah.
The other founder and editor. And he writes, it's like, me and him write about half and half. And then we have an ad guy, Josh. He's also written a lot more this year. Like we sort of, we've opened up the opportunity after learning he's like a really good writer too.
Yeah.
And he's, he knows our voice and our site and stuff too.
Right.
So, he's involved as well. And then, after that, it's a lot of just like random freelancers, like everyone from like, there's like, people that have written for like the Daily Beast or that like they're on their writing staff or Vinyl Me Please and all these other well-known within their thing sort of the avenues. And then we have some local musicians write things, and my mom even wrote an article last week.
Well, about what?
She went to Leroy Butler's wedding.
I saw that. Yeah,
I bought her tickets, and I swear, not with the expectation that she'd have to write something.
Right.
She's just,
Mom, come back with something, or you can't go.
Like I'll need 750 words by Wednesday, please.
Otherwise, I'm taking away the tickets.
Or you're not going to Santana Dotson's Briss.
That's off the table completely. So when did the idea then come for Milwaukee Record? Like how long before you started? Because it's been 5 years now, and you guys have, I think, over like 5,000 written pieces.
We've had
or something like that.
I think over like 5,300 or something.
Yeah, like that's a lot for 5 years.
And it's insane looking back. I mean, that had even happened, and how it happened was this is my version, and maybe Matt's will differ a little bit, but
I'll have to talk to them.
But the AV Club, they announced it was ending. Matt was actually the editor of the AV Club at that time.
Okay,
and so he learned, and then he immediately announced the AV Club is ending. And at that time, that was my most regular writing job as I balance these other part-time jobs.
Right.
And it was also the one that I enjoyed the most because he allowed me to kind of be the person I wanted to and write about exactly what I wanted to. And I wrote a lot about sports and random offbeat sort of things that I liked. And I was just like, well, this is ending. But as I mentioned before, it wasn't because they weren't making money. They were doing well, but it was just at every other place. Like the Madison version, the Washington one, the Philadelphia one, they weren't making money, and so they got rid of all of them because it didn't really make sense to have an AV Club and then an AV Club Milwaukee, and then nothing else. So they're just like, yeah, thanks, we're done. And so once I had the warning that it was over, I was like, well, do I either, because this was right when I was about to just be exclusively like a writer.
Okay.
And then I was learning I was like losing my my best and my favorite avenue of writing.
Right. Yeah.
And so I approached him actually at one of the Onion ending parties, and we were both a little buzzed at the time.
Yeah.
Bittersweet kind of we were there celebrating a thing that we love, but we were saying goodbye to it
and
stuff.
Right.
And then I was like, I know you're probably in a weird spot and you're fielding a lot of offers and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if we you, the former editor, who's at the time was a known person in the arts scene, and that's not to say that he was he's not now, but
he lost that title.
He's receded. It's a new era, baby. But no, but he he had some recognition within this very minimal avenue, Milwaukee arts, Milwaukee culture sort of stuff. And then I was the guy who wrote everywhere else, including there. And if I was, I basically said, if I, rather than writing for everyone else, if I just wrote for one thing, if I only serviced one thing, and then if you were the other editor, if we were both involved with this thing, and we kind of filled each other's gaps because he's 7 years older than me. He's he's really into film.
Sure.
He's really knowledgeable about that. Like we like a little bit of the same music, but there is a vast, difference.
Sure.
And he knew nothing about stand up really.
Yeah.
And that was like my beat. Like I was, and this isn't a brag. I mean, I was the only person really attempting to do anything with that whole medium, but I was only, I was the best, like by nature of like being the only person who wrote about it. And then we both wrote about food enough. We both knew about these random things, and we had a similar voice. And so we decided like, why don't we do this? Or I gave him like the pitch or whatever. It wasn't an elevator pitch because it was over the course of like a half hour of me. Drunkenly saying like, no, we got to do this. We should do it. So we left it like you can look around and you should obviously, because he's, married and he has like expectations. Like you should look around, but if you happen to want to, just know that I'm in. Yeah. And we let it go for a month or so. And then I think he kind of he was also maybe waiting for like whoever to reach out, like, hey, we want to like get you on staff or whatever. It was more like, we want to give you $30 to write occasionally about something. Right. And so he's like, I don't know the language, like a policy here. Am I allowed to?
You're good. Yeah.
But he's like, I just want to know for later, because,
okay.
But he's like, what the hell? What the fuck, whatever. Like, we're going to do this. Like, I'm in if you're in. So, we met up, I think originally it was like November of the year it was ending. And then we waited until that next like April, and we both wrote other places, and we kind of, saved up our own money knowing that there wouldn't be a lot really coming in. Yeah. We warned a few possible clients that we would be we'd be unveiling this. Sure. And then we kind of actually Matt, he taught himself how to do web design.
Oh wow.
And did
he make the website?
He built the website. Yeah.
That's impressive.
The look of it, we bought a theme too. So that's a lot of it. But he got off the ground, and we kind of went back and forth with long emails and longer meetings. And then we decided on April 7th that we were going to launch officially. And so, wow. But we announced ahead of time, maybe that March or something. And then we had some articles just on some it was maybe Tumblr or whatever. Okay. It was like a warning. This will be what it will be like. And then when the website launched, we had those in our archives already. So it wasn't one article each day. Right. And we've been rolling since then. And the website itself is really, I might be venturing way ahead, but the website itself is way different than it was when it started.
That's what I was going to ask you. What were your expectations of the website, when it first started compared to what it turned into? Did you expect something different? Were you going for something different? It just kind of morphed into what it is?
I think at first we wanted it to be it's even in our log line or our whatever it is, but we want to be gently sarcastic, Yeah. We wanted to kind of be this pointed local commentary, and we do that every now and then, but I think we've really backed away from that as we've become more invested in actually what's happening here. I used to be the guy who wanted to get something past an editor. I would say this restaurant, even though their burger sucks or whatever, they're hosting this thing or whatever, and I hope to the one jab about David Gruber or whatever it is. And and now I'm the person looking to not make those things, because that one sentence, or the musician I would make fun of, you meet them later in a different way, and you're like, wow, they're really nice, and they're nice people, and
now I feel
music
like
might not be my thing. So what's it worth to to be doing that? So I don't know, that's the way it's maybe changed, but we sort of at this point I think we also maybe pick our battles a little bit better, and so when we actually are openly against a thing, or we have some sort of a irreverent remark about something, it maybe means a little more. It maybe carries a little bit of weight.